first of all, it cuts into pieces, and then it also cuts all the springs, ties between pieces. So wisdom plays the role in cutting the connection of the whole cow. So, so they're doing these two things together. So we now, what we penetrate now, we penetrate into being able to see with the insight the five aggregates. That's penetration. It's like you never penetrate into seeing this. Now you penetrate. That's through the wisdom. It's not you. And you're now, would you, in the beginning, without knowing, this is Luang Mae, okay. And that is that not knowing, no penetration. Luang Mae is Luang Mae. You are you. But now your perception is different now. This is like the outline of Luang Mae. This is the posture. You know, when you see yourself, you see from within. So you kind of like knowing the outline. You're sitting. The outline is like sitting. So when you sit and meditate, this is, you see yourself there, right? There is an outline. This is the posture. And then sensation, here and there, here and there, here and there, sensation. And Long Eyes yesterday, she says that she has thought arising. And we also know, knowing that there is a thought. That means that there is connection here. The mind generates the thought out, and then the thought comes in the mind. So there's in and out of the nama, or the consciousness. Also, sensation. You see that this is four elements. And we know that the four element comes from outside, and it creates here the sensation, and it goes out. When it goes out, the sensation that's gone. And maybe it happens here. So this is we know that there is in and out of nama and rupa. That is what you are right now. Or let's say, does anyone doesn't experience this yet? Then you can lift your hand. Can you ask? So you see, you penetrate into perceiving this. But before that, no, just this Luang Mae from the outside. But you can penetrate onto only within you. You cannot penetrate into Ritas. So this is your own knowledge, and it happens. The knowledge has to be acquired from yourself, not from the outside. Okay? That is the first step, that you have already penetrated into this. And this is reality as it is. And then next, what is the next step? You don't realize that what you're doing now is you have an observer, very beautiful eyes, seeing yourself. This is Rupa. This is Thai. And Nama. So matter and mind, two parts. They're different. And then now you see the observer. You're observer. You see yourself within. This is five aggregates consisted of. But then you see like the world. That's like still outside. This is the world. This is how you perceive. There is still two things. That's you. That's the world, or the nature. There is out. This is inside. You know, there are two things. And again, when you see the world, you also see the world like into. you will penetrate further into seeing the world with two natures, like matter and mind. Like you know that she has mind. Then you will know that within this world, no, not yet. You will know that this is mental factors and mental formations within here. So many things concerning the mind. You know that. This is 1 and 2. But then, when you cut the link, and then you also know that there is the link between these two things, and then later on, it's like, when you cut this off, you're actually, this is the same. This is also the same. You're in here. You and the world are not different. This is like two different things, you and the world. Mm-hmm. And then furthermore, you are actually part of the world, one thing, okay? But what happened is like, you'll see that observer is very important. So observer is seeing that there is the mind matter, and this is mind matter, so it becomes one thing, mind matter. But then there are still two entities, the observer and this. And then when the wisdom penetrates further, it also cut the link between this, the observer and this. And so when it cuts off the link, that means that the observer is also within here. Why? Because the observer is part of the world, because the consciousness is happening within here, within this realm. And then there's the wisdom, which is like the light shines on this, and then consciousness arises when the light shines onto this. So this only arises when the light shines onto it. And then when the light doesn't shine onto it, it's gone. So then, when this phenomena is not there, what exists is only, this is what seems to appear as the wall. When the light shines onto this. When the light doesn't shine onto this, there is nothing. And see, the light, this kind of light is something that one may know that things seems to exist, but it doesn't truly exist. Therefore, we see this is like, do you remember that I drew the square? Yeah. Then, you see, it exists only for one moment. So in fact, there is no square. In fact, there is no circle. Because what exists is like one moment like this, and it's gone. And then the next moment, it's not that one, it's this one, and it's gone. And then the next moment, only this one, and it's gone. But then it's perception that links this and present to you that this exists. In reality, nothing can exist. So the existence naturally cannot be there, but we crave for existence. We crave just because there is misunderstanding of the perception that it can exist. But again, see that the wisdom can penetrate into this until here. You know that nothing can exist. Even the observer No, the observer cannot exist because the observer can depend. I mean, this is the condition of the observer. So if this is the condition of an observer, and you know that this cannot exist on its own, the observer also cannot exist on its own. So no real existence at all. So once you penetrate into no real existence, so that's beyond sankhara. You're not trapped with the sankhara anymore, knowing that there is something beyond sankhara which truly exists. That is the only thing that truly exists beyond sankhara. And that can only be penetrated by wisdom. And that is the final stage where we want to go, using wisdom, step by step, through understanding what reality truly is. So this is the explanation, like the picture of what reality truly is. There is no, it's starting from the existence of Luang Mae to, like dissecting into small pieces, and then we zoom out to understand this procedure. Then understanding each procedure, and it's from the mind. See, the mind perceiving it this way. The mind perceiving it this way. The mind perceiving this duality. The mind perceiving this duality. And then the mind perceiving this duality, 1, 2. And then finally, like this, observer is in there, but then there is something knowing this. But however, this cannot exist. It exists in condition to this. So nothing truly exists, only
neither the wisdom exists.
That is true wisdom.
Yeah, but at the end, neither wisdom exists, doesn't exist.
Right, nothing can exist. But then it exists in the nature, because there is the nature of knowing. See, this is the nature of knowing, but then the true nature of knowing does not appear to exist. See, the thing is that it needs wisdom to penetrate into the reality. That's what we understand now through intellectual process and not direct experience. But we're going there. Now we're here already. So the penetration and the cutting keeps going on if you keep cultivating it. And you have already developed this eye to cut and to penetrate. And the eye will go on cutting and penetrate for you until finally you just have to destroy, realizing that the eye belongs to the world and nothing apart from the world. And that's when existence doesn't seem to exist anymore. Okay, so this is when the ignorance is gone. Only then, then the existence arises, seeing there are always two things. And the type of consciousness or the type of awareness always match. So when the consciousness of two things arises, it's a specific type of consciousness that belongs to the world. But when the consciousness which does not belong to the world is there is the existence of the true nature. When this is hard to explain.
Yes, this is hard to understand.
Never mind. Just like that. I mean, that's like the perception when there is no self and no real existence. So the perception, the consciousness, the type of consciousness which is conscious of no true existence only happens when you develop the final wisdom. Then that means that you develop the last thing that can perceive the oneness of non-existence. And it is possible because the Buddha says that this is the path towards there. even in the beginning, the Buddha says, right after his enlightenment, he sat and he thought, this is too profound to explain, too profound. And then the Brahma, Brahma, celestial beings, came down, knowing that this is the teaching, the thought of the Buddha. He came down and he told the Buddha, there will be some living beings who are already like the lotus, blooming and waiting for the sunshine. There are those people who can understand the profound teaching. No matter how profound it is, they are still lotus, blooming, waiting for the Dhamma of the Buddha to, receive the sun and understand it. And then the Buddha realized, oh yes, there are those people. And then, from then, you see, we're part of those people who are able to understand, or able to see. And now, intellectually, you can understand it. So that means that in order to experience it, you have ability to go there. So when the teaching of the Buddha is so profound, it doesn't mean that this teaching is for only specific people. The Buddhists know that there are many people who are able to understand. And the Dhamma is there within us, within this body and within our mind, to penetrate into and gain the knowledge. You see, now we're here, we're only here, but we'll go further, we go further. And we experience everything until here already. And we're also having the right thought, at least towards something outside, when sometimes there is now, there's this, the world outside also include other people and not you. There is this you and other people. Even though intellectually, that this is also Rupa and Nama, but this is my Rupa and Nama. And that's your Rupa and Nama. See, there's still this two entity. But more and more understanding, it'll merge into oneness, right? There is no you or there is no me. The mind and matter is just the same. Then you merge into one, right? There will be more and more understanding. There is no separation. Okay, so today that's it. That's it. To explain the process when the ignorance is not there. When the ignorance is not there, you see that everything is sankhara, belongs to the world. And there's no linkage. There's no linkage. So when there's no linkage in the beginning, there's just so many link lines in the world. You're there. You're there. You're part of it. So many linked to many things, and sometimes so this person linked to you, and this thing linked to you, either matter on Rupa or Nama. But with you at the center, you interact and you generate the energy. And even though the energy is positive or negative, there's always pushing or pulling, pushing yourself closer to her, pulling yourself apart from her, always pushing and pulling. So pushing and pulling generated the linkage between everything. So you're always being trapped by this linkage because you don't realize that pushing or pulling is part of the world, and you keep on doing this. So once you know that, hey, this is craving, this is pushing, pulling, that's, you build the linkage to the world, then you just let go of this through being observer. Because through being an observer, you don't interact. We try not to interact, only observe. So at the moment of observe, you do not generate pulling or pushing. You only stand still and allow whatever pass by and do not interact. So at that very moment, no pushing or no pulling. So more and more of that is just like you're out a little, you're out a little and you get in. You get out a little and you get in the trap. So the more you know that you're trapped, you're further away, further away, further away. When you're further away, also the link of the world is being further away and being cut off. So you're free. You're free from the world. You're not liberated and being linked to this world. So this is where we want. It is also the simile of Ananda and the last moment. It's like when Ananda stays here and there is the moon and then the cloud. This is brightness, that is darkness. He looks there. When we look here, when the cloud overshadow the moon, see, there is darkness and brightness. Looking at that, there are two things, but in reality, the moon is always, the light is always there. We only stand there and seeing the darkness side and take it so seriously that it truly exists. And then, so everything, Ananda is part of the world, the cloud is part of the world, the understanding of darkness and this dualism of dark and light is also the perception, which is part of the world. Only when we take out this misunderstanding through wisdom, Ananda will know that even though seeing that now it's being overshadowed by the cloud, within his heart, he knows all the time that the moon always shines. The light is always there. True wisdom. The eyes cannot tell you the reality. So, see, everything belongs to the world, but the nature of knowing always shines. But we just cannot penetrate into it now. It's only wisdom. I should say wisdom is here, not here. Okay, that's it for today.